You are now tuned into the Sarah Elizabeth Show.
Allow me to be your Edgar Allan Poe.
Life's a bitch, and so am I.
This show's a bit like getting high.
Let me be your anchor when your mind's a little flimsy. So without further ado, welcome to the whimsy. That'll do it.
Coming up on the Sarah Elizabeth Show.
Really, the last thing I would advise you to do is jump on Hinge. You are unhinged. See more movement at the cemetery. I respect that you've got feelings, sweetie pie, but you sent that to a guy who you've been on one date with, and this was his reply. Today, class, I'm going to give you 5 ways to instantly become more attractive. I flip my hair and it knocks one of the artists in the face. At this point, call the police. He's dragged you. He's ate you up. I hate to defend a man on this internet. Act like unbothered. Unbothered. You are bothered. Right now, I'm going to show you how to journal to stop you from sending those embarrassing beggy paragraphs. I just got done shaving my cooch, so if I'm a little more devious than normal, you know why. Welcome to episode 2 of the Sarah Elizabeth Show. Guys, about 8 months ago, as I said in the last episode, I did struggle with depression, okay? And it feels so good to say it now. It's a massive weight lifted, because for a while I was like, nah, I'm alright. I'm alright, yeah. I wasn't alright. I struggled. I really went just like into this pit of like, I was so out of balance with myself. I was not looking after my mental, not looking after my physical. I was uninspired. I had creator's block. I wasn't showing up for myself. I was taking it out on other people. I was just an absolute rancid stench to be around. I'm just being honest. But because I hit such a rock bottom, it forced me to like have this transformative. So the last 6 months have been me going on this crazy journey. And now I genuinely feel like I'm in the best position that I've ever been in. And because I love you guys so much, I genuinely do, like with all my heart and soul and coochie, I want to share every single thing. And I was going for a little lunch with my friend the other week, and she said to me, what have you done? Because she was like, you are the sexiest you've... I'm not joking, and she's straight as well, but she was like, this is the most attractive you've ever been. And I know she wasn't talking just physically, but I genuinely, at the minute, I feel like I'm on this vibe where I just feel magnetic, and I know exactly what I've done. I've got a damn spreadsheet, so I'm going to share it with you in this ep, guys. But... let me just start. I think I touched on this in the last episode, but I do want to say, if you feel like you're really feeling quite low right now, do not be afraid to get sometimes you have to go low in order to like come full circle all the way around, because you kind of hit that breaking point. And you know how sometimes when you've got a friend who like doesn't listen to any of your advice, and you're advising them till you're blue in the face, and they don't listen, and you still love them because you're your friend, but you're like, why aren't you listening? Sometimes it takes them to get to such a low mental point to be like, you were right all along. I've realised that happens a lot of the time. Sometimes you know deep down what you're doing is wrong, or you've gone into a trap. You know what would fix it, but you have to hit such a low to actually like then fully turn your life around. And that's what I did. I genuinely just, I was in just a horrible position. I think it was about 8 months ago. I just genuinely, fell out of love with everything, fell out of love with myself. And then I started falling into traps that I didn't even believe in. I started comparing myself to other people. I started thinking that the world was, against me. So when things would go wrong and I wouldn't get opportunities, I would start thinking, people are plotting on my downfall. I started thinking evil eye. Everyone's evil eye. And the truth is, I do not believe in evil eye, because I don't believe for a second that some little negative, insecure fart can have that much power over my life. You have no power here, pussy. Don't make me back out the scripture saying, no weapon formed against me will prosper. No weapon will... That's the truth. No weapon formed against me will prosper. And by Christ, not one from a good-for-nothing goofball. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I genuinely believe. That's a good point, actually. I will touch on that in a bit more depth, but I genuinely don't think evil eye is a thing. So people will say to me, oh, evil eye. I think what's happening is you're evil eyeing yourself a little bit, because I don't believe that some negative little noonar can sit there being like, oh, I'm going to ruin her life. You don't have that power, you little bitch. And like I said, it is literally written, no weapon formed against me will prosper in the Bible. Like I said, guys, I am a Bible baddie. And especially not a weapon made by a good-for-nothing goofball. So, I'm good. Evil eye won't get me. But yeah, I started falling into the trap of being like, everyone's out to get me. No one's coming to save me. It's just me. No, but this is the thing though. Me saying no one's coming to save me after asking my mum for £20. No one's coming to save me. Mom, please transfer money now. That was me the whole time. But no, you like to, when you're low, when you're in a low position, and like I was, you blame everyone else but yourself. And sometimes it takes coming to that like, as in you're like, oh, people are being weird with me, and it's just you and it's your energy, and it takes a reality check. And I had to have a reality check where I was like, ugh, like, because this is another thing as well. I was actually taking it out on my friends when I was in this low state. I was taking it out on my friends because I didn't have a boyfriend to take it out. If I had a boyfriend to take it out on, oh goodness me, I would have been taking him out to hell. But which is not something to be proud of, but this is just how I operate. So I've got to know myself now. But and when I say that, I just mean I would have been a bit of a bitch. So it didn't sound that worse than it was, but I was taking it out with my friends, like when I was feeling low, because when you're not showing up for yourself, you want to find everyone else to blame but you and what you've got going on. So if my friends didn't reply to me quite quick, I'd be like, yo, she's just not there for me. And I'd like flipping out with my friends and being clingy and crazy, which is not even in my nature. And you'll notice that when you show up for yourself and you treat yourself well, you don't even notice if someone's not replied for a little bit because you're so occupied. What you don't realize is when you're not showing up for yourself and you're not in balance and you're not treating yourself well and you're all out of whack, you're acting like a different person, like a freak. So we're going to go into that a little bit today. But also, like I said, I did want to touch on that I genuinely do feel now, after I've been on this whole journey, the most attractive I've ever been. And when I talk about attractiveness, I'm talking so much about the psychological side and the energy side of it. And of course, like, you know, there's no harm in feeling like a little sexual diva, like a little lady of the night. No, not a lady of the night. Let's not lower the tone. That's not what I meant. I just mean, like, I don't always mean sexually attractive, but that comes massively into it. But I want to talk about, the psychology behind like how I'm feeling and kind of give that onto you guys so you can all feel like your most attractive selves, because that's genuinely how I feel right now. Not to be obnoxious, but I am the hottest that I've ever been. And if you don't agree, you're blind or deaf or both. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but I'm just saying, no, just kidding. But I genuinely, again, not to sound like cringe and stuff, but I do love you guys so much. And this is why whenever I come to these discoveries, the first thing I want to do is get on and share with you guys, because the last thing that I want to do is just be the one that's benefited from it. I'm like, I want to share with the girls. I genuinely do feel like all of us are mates. By the way, can I ask a quick question, just because it's spiking my curiosity? One, how old do you guys think I am? I've realised, I don't know if I've ever said my age on here, but I get a lot of mixed messages. So put in the comments of wherever you're watching. I think you can comment on Spotify now as well. How old do you think I am? And two, just because I'm curious, where are you from in the UK, if you're from the UK? And if you're not from the UK, just where are you from? But I want to know if I've got a little north and south divide. I'm really feeling curious. I like to get to know my audience. But without further ado, let's just start the episode. I'm really excited to kind of just share everything with you guys. Get your notepads out and enjoy the episode. I love you so much. Welcome, class. Look at this. I'm a teacher. Visuals, you'll be seeing me in a classroom right now. Guys, so I'm going to basically run you through some tips and just some things that have been really helping me in this new kind of aligned era. That's what I'm going to call it. Because of course I want to share my queens. May I ask, dare I ask, just because it helps me out so much, if you're watching on YouTube, guys, could you guys do me a little favor and hit the hype button? There should be a hype button. It's completely free. It's just like a little button where you hype the video up, and I think it does wonders. If you could do that for me right now, that'd be brilliant. And also just tap the like. Anything, engagement related does help a lot, especially mid-rate while you're just watching. And if you're listening on Spotty or Appy, like I said, just download, hit around, tap around, tag me on your stories or anything like that. It just helps a lot. I hate to ask. I don't. I love it. No, but it will help, just helps. Like I said, any of this helps me get it better for you guys. So do that for me and we'll continue. I do just want to say as well, I know I'm saying like, how to be more attractive. And I feel like that has become very shallow. Like, it feels shallow to say that because it's like, who cares about being attractive? But being attractive, the word attractive doesn't just equate to sexual attractiveness and stuff like that. It's a whole thing, like attractive to opportunities, attractive to friendships, attractive to just feeling like an attractive person. It is so much deeper than it sounds. So I just wanted to preface that when I'm talking about it. So without further ado, okay, class, today I'm going to give you 5 psychological ways to instantly become more attractive and confident. No gimmicks, no bullshit, no plastic surgery, just things that actually work. Number 1 is this little game called the observation trick. Okay, so this I gave to my friend. So I had a friend who said to me all the time that when she was whether it would be like a first date or something, or maybe it would be something in person, like a job interview or going to a party or going to something, anything that required like confidence, she would just be so like crippled with anxiety about so many things. Like she'd be focused on how she was looking. She'd be like, oh, do my teeth look weird? And just kind of like really inside herself. And on a date, she'd be thinking like, oh, I'm laughing, but are my teeth looking weird? Like, am I spotty? Just kind of like just all feeble. She was acting like a wet soup. And then wet soup, by the way, is what I say when someone's being really like flimsy and feeble. And then if she was going into like a group setting, she'd be like, oh, everyone's like looking at me. No one wants me here. Everyone thinks I'm weird. Like my posture is weird. And in a way, it's like you're being selfish because you're focusing on yourself so much to the point where you're thinking everyone else is thinking about you so much, but it's also crippling you with anxiety. So I said, listen, let's play a little game just between you and the room. And I created this little game. I must have seen it somewhere, but I'm going to take credit for it anyway. And I said basically, and it's going to sound like a stupid little gimmick, but don't knock it till you've tried it. I said basically, well, I'll give you two examples. One example of the game when you're on a date and one example when you're going into like a group setting. You are going to completely go into this situation and be like, right, I am going to be an observer of the room and I'm going to play the role of a spy, like a super sleuth, okay? So I said, you're going to go into the room that you're really anxious to enter and you feel like you're going to be really like focused on yourself and you're going to come across like a little insecure pussy. I don't like to use the word pussy with a negative connotation because, let me tell you, there's nothing negative about mine. No, but I'm just kidding, but I don't like that. It's a bit misogynistic, that, isn't it? So, but like I said, I've tried other things in saying like, don't be a ball bag, and it just doesn't have the same ring. So just know that I'm not being misogynistic, but whatever. Walk into a room, and before you go into the room, you're going to decide the game that you're going to play. You're going to be like, right, okay, I'm going to go in the room and I'm going to count the number of fine shits in this establishment. No, think of something. I'm going to walk in and I'm going to just see every single person who's wearing a suit. I'm going to go in and I'm going to find everyone who's wearing blue. You can make it boring, you can make it fun. You could be like, right, I'm going to go in and see how many of the people in this function would I sleep with after 5 to keep the shots. I don't know, do whatever. But you've got to think, before you go in, you've got to kind of set yourself a little target, a little game, right, that you're going to play. Like I said, let's play a little, it's going to sound crazy, but just you're going to see how it unfolds. So you've got an assignment. Give yourself an assignment. You're James Bond. You've got yourself a game assignment of what you're going to play when you go into the room. Now, what this does, so you're going to go in and immediately observe the room and start playing your game. And if you're with a mate, you could even make it fun where you've both got to try and spot it. But you are now walking in, one, completely not focused on yourself because you're focusing on this game. So now the focus is off all of your insecurities. You're also now walking in very confident because you're an observer. You're scanning the room. You're looking around. People might be like, oh, fucking hell, there's a Peaky Blinders walked in here. Do you know what I mean? Because you're kind of like walking in like a bit of a gangster. You're looking around. You're observing the room. You're looking more confident because of that, but you're also not focused on yourself because you're focused on your game. And it's also not faking it till you make it because you're only playing a little game. Now, spin that to a date. I did this once. It was a little trick that I did when I was on a little date and I felt really insecure that day. I had spots popping off everywhere. I had undiagnosed celiac disease at the time, so I was feeling a little bit of a spotty mess. Yes, didn't love it. Because I don't usually struggle with my confidence in that way, and I'm not flexing, I just don't. But that day I was really feeling like a little bit of a Rocky Mountain range, and I thought, goodness me, this is not good. And I already could feel how I was going to be, like just sat there on the date, like, gosh, just kind of just like I felt that feeble energy that I was about to emit off. So I thought, I'm going to nip it in the bud. And this is when I applied my observation game to this situation. So I thought, you know what? To save me from sitting there like, oh my God. And by the way, this only works if you're doing a low-level conversation, like and a conversation that's not too deep. If you're on a first date and you're just getting to know each other and you're having that first date little like awkward convo, do not do this when like someone's telling you that the nan's passed away or any deep stuff, because it might come across like, well, you're not going to be listening. But the thing is, usually if someone's telling you something really deep and really like cutting and like loaded, you actually don't focus on yourself anyway because you're now really engrossed in the story. So all that insecurity and focus on yourself goes away anyway because you're listening in. A lot of the first like nerves and like insecurity and stuff comes up when it's just like, hey, like, how are you? Small talk, pathetic small talk. By the way, how annoying is small talk on a first date? Hey, yeah, my favourite food. So I sat down on my date and I knew for a fact I was just feeling a little bit insecure. So I sat down for my date and I thought, right, the way the observation trick works if you're just one-on-one is you are going to completely shift the focus of how you are and how insecure you're feeling, and you're going to observe something on their face. Stick with me because it's going to sound cuckoo. So I was like, I'm going to count your pimples, boy. I'm going to play Spot the Different. No, just kidding. No, don't do it judgmentally. But what you're going to do is you're going to be like, right, okay, I'm going to observe the circumference of his face here. I'm going to have a little look at a few dimensions, all right? Nose is looking nice and big. Don't mind it. Could work with that. Just have a little look at the face. It sounds crazy. Or you're going to pick something to focus on. You're going to be like, okay, eyebrow thickness. All right. It's not a judgmental thing. It's not. But you are just going to become that, do that observation trick. You're going to observe the face. You're going to kind of scan. Like I said, this only works if you're not doing a deep conversation. And don't have judgmental, because like I said, we don't want to be judgmental. But I did this, and I was still listening. You still listen as well, obviously, to what they're saying, but you're just observing. And he texted me after the date, and he was like, I don't know what it was, but you just made me so nervous. And I was like, I've cracked the code. I went into the date feeling nervous and insecure. But then I thought, I'm gonna play my little observation game, and I'm just gonna scan the face. Because when you're kind of looking at someone really intently, and then you maybe looking around a little bit, and you're scanning them, woo, that shifts you into kind of like you're like the intimidator in that sense. So that really worked. And like I said, I didn't think about my spots the entire time. So that's a fun little game. I just wanted to let you know about. Obviously, it's a silly little game, but by Christ, it works. So try it. Another little psychological trick to become more attractive and confident instantly. And this, every single sexy, gorgeous, hot, amazing person that I envy exudes. When I say envy, not right now, but used to, they exude this. And it's you know exactly, when you see it and meet someone that possesses this, you know exactly what's going on. And it's the fact that they've gotten to a point where other people's perceptions of them are completely water off a duck's back. Like, they do not give a damn about anyone's perceptions. And how you get to this point is, you've got to really kind of reprogram. There is a slight element of delusion with this, but I always say, a little bit of delusion is better than a lot of depression. Do you know what I mean? One day is better than the other. Put it on a t-shirt. Someone could be like, oh, this babe, she's high maintenance, she wants all this, she's too much, it's too much. That is his perception of you. Only if you were insecure and feeling like that would that ever mean anything to you, because then someone would meet you and think, oh my goodness, this is so attractive, she's got standards and boundaries. Someone else would think that. But the only thing that should ever matter is what you think about you. Now, there's a little loophole, I hate to say it. If everyone in the room thinks you're a raging CUNT, you might be. No, but you know what I mean? Like, if everyone's saying something repeatedly over again, and I'm talking people that you really trust and look up to, it could be take a little slice of gluten-free humble pie, but which I don't like to do. I don't even like, do you know what I mean? But, bearing in mind, you're never ever going to be in a world where everyone likes you. By the way, if everyone likes you as well, I'm sorry, you're a people pleaser. You're not being true to yourself. You're not that. There's never a world where everyone's going to like you and instantly get you and respond well to you and fancy you. There's never going to be that world, because unfortunately a lot of people are really insecure, and if you really are at a point where you're secure and you've got so much going on and you're healed and you're exuding this natural good energy, in fact people might like you a lot less. That's just the unfortunate thing of it. So you've got to be so secure in your own perception. You've got to look at it like this. Someone's perception of you could have to do with what they've got going on. They might have had a family death. Sorry to lower the tone. They might have had something really terrible going on in their life, and they might be reacting badly to you today, and you're going to take that to heart and really be like, oh, they don't fancy me. They don't want to go on a date with me. They don't like me. They don't like my vibe. They told me to shut up. Blah, 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 blah. But you don't know what they've got going on. You will never know that, and that's okay. What you have to be so secure on is what you've got going on. And that's the beauty of perception. Like I said, people are going to perceive you differently. It's the beauty of, I've got an ex that perceives me as a bitch, but then I've got another ex who perceives me as a massive bitch. And that's the beauty of perception. You really have, no, just kidding, but, well, not kidding, but perception is never a reflection of you. Like I said, the only little loophole is if people or maybe trying to tell you something about yourself, but that will usually come from people that you care about anyway. So you've got to get it's so freeing. I cannot tell you how freeing it is to not worry about anyone's perceptions. It's so good. It's just like, I can't describe how good it is to just get rid of that. And you got to just think of it like this. If you, like I said, you do have to go for a swim in delusion pool a little bit, because like I said, if someone turns you down, I would recommend thinking, you are gay. No, this one's my favourite, I think it is. And this one is to never, ever, ever point out your flaws for this reason, and also take the goddamn compliments. And what I mean by this is, whenever I'm feeling a little bit shoddy and a little bit down in the dumps, I notice that I do this. For example, when I'm having my little skin blip, like I said, undiagnosed celiac disease will do this to you. My skin was flaring up. But what happens a lot of the time with me is your fixating will make the problem so much bigger in your head than it was. So I was fixating so much about my skin. I was seeing it in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, it's really spreading. And then I'd go out and people would be like, I can't even see any spots. Because in my mind, it's all I can see. Because that's what happens. It genuinely will send you a bit loopy. So I was thinking it was so much worse than it was. So I would go out and let's say my skin was glowing, but there was just a few little tiny pimples. Someone would say to me like, oh, your skin's really glowing today. And I'd be like, no, actually it isn't. I put loads of concealer on. Yeah, and I'm really struggling at the minute. What an absolute wet soup. I sounded like an absolute... Now I've come to think of it, and I used to do it as well. Like I said, if I was operating on that like low frequency, even someone would come up to me and be like, I like your two-piece. That's a really nice set. And I'd be like, oh, it's only from Temu. I mean, like, it's nice to share where things have got from, but just that energy, it stinks. Like, just constantly self-deprecating. And a lot of people do it to kind of be like a quirky little, like, oh, I guess I'm just worthless. Like a little goofball. And to an extent of, like, being, like, taking the piss out of yourself is fun, but you gotta be very careful it doesn't cross over into just never ever being able to have anything nice said about you and instantly deflecting it with, like, putting it down like, you know, your makeup looks really good. Oh no, I can't do makeup. I can't. Just take it.
Take it. Hold my hand when I shake it.
I hate that I did that. Take it, bitch. How about put that on a t-shirt? Take the compliment. Say thank you, though. This is another thing. What I think is fake confidence is when, because you don't want to go too far to the other side of this and start being the bitch that kind of, when you compliment someone, they go, I know. Because they really think that they've peaked at their confidence. But I'm telling you right now, it reeks. I once actually said, I remember I gave her, there was this girl, she was actually a bad bitch, she was. But I said to her, oh, you look amazing. I never even say it. I feel like I usually say, like, you look cute. I said, you look amazing. It was a genuine compliment. And she went, I know. I said, give it me back, you bitch. You look like a thumb. Give it back. And guess where we were? China White. Every single bad interaction I've had has been in a China White. Everyone else is sound. No, but goodness me, I thought, give it back, bitch. Woo-wee. So don't do that. Say a nice thank you, but take the compliment. You don't have to deflect it. It seems harmless. It seems harmless to be like, no, I promise it's not nice. It's ratty. Your hair looks really good. Oh, it's just extensions. You should see it's thinning. It's falling out by the seams. Bitch. Give me your baddie chain. Love it when I give a nice compliment and someone says, thank you so much. Yes! Take it, bitch! That's what I think. It's hot. And it shows that, yes, you're going to take a compliment. You don't need to deflect it. And I know it's sometimes, a lot of people, the people that are self-deprecating all the time, you'll find that they'll be more popular a lot of the time. But that's because people feel comfortable around people that are constantly putting themselves down, unfortunately. So you gotta, like I said, it's not a really bad one. It is sometimes fun to be like, oh, it's only from Shein. That's fun. But if they just said, I did it once, I had a really nice two-piece on, and it was actually my friend's from Temu as well, so I shouldn't have been putting her stuff down. But someone was like, oh gosh, that's amazing. It looks amazing on your figure. She didn't ask where it was from. And I was like, oh, it's only from Temu. Bitch, she didn't ask and now you sound feeble. See what I mean? And then another one is, don't point out your flaws. A lot of people as a defense mechanism will point out their flaws to other people because they feel like if they do it first, it's like a defense. Like, you don't want other people to point that out because it's something you're so gravely insecure about, so you want to say it first. I've said this story so many times on the podcast, so sorry if I sound like a broken record, but basically I was doing a music video shoot because yes, I was a music video model. We will be getting into that, of course, today. I will be showing you some of the music videos, which is sick and twisted, but yeah, I was in my video vixen era, and I remember we were doing a photo shoot for the video. And the girl who was taking my pictures was the baddest bitch in the room. And I was in there, sick. She was so gorge. And I was like, damn, you on the wrong side of the camera. And I was like, I need to tell her. Like, I need to let her. Like, one thing about me, I'll always let a bitch know that she's bad. I will. So I said to her after, I said, why aren't you modelling? Like, I understand if this is your niche and you like, maybe you like the technical stuff. I didn't want to, be like, just get into modelling. You're too hot for this. But I said, why aren't you modelling? And she was like, oh my goodness, are you being silly? Like, of course I couldn't model. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're picking for attention. We're fishing. No, just kidding. But I was like, you are literally the prettiest person in here.
And she was like, are you joking? Look at my nose. That's what she said to me. And she was like, it's so crooked. And she dared me. She said, look at my nose. So low key, I dialed in on the nose. I inspected. I'm not going to lie. Yes, it was crooked. But only when I was forced to focus on it. I the whole day was thinking she was the baddest bitch I've ever seen. And then she said, no, please, just look at my nose. Like, oh, yeah, you know, that insecure spiel that you do. And you do it as a defense mechanism. The reason people do that is because they know that it's something there. So her nose, right, basically as well, when you fixate on something, it becomes bigger, like I said. So she was like stood in the mirror, turning into Pinocchio. Every time she looked, it looked even bigger because in her mind, she was like, I'm just the big nose crooked bitch. And it was just growing. No one else could see it. But then she said, look at it. So I like I said, I focused, I locked in. Yeah, bitch, I ain't gonna argue with you. It's crooked. It's a little off center. Perhaps a deviated septum, ma'am. I wasn't gonna lie, but I said, yes, no, it's just, I kind of just said, no, it doesn't look it. Between you and me, septum was more than deviated. But I didn't notice that until she said, look at it, and I was stood in front of her. So if that's not the biggest test to me, to shut up about that and just, I understand having insecurities is not nice at all, but don't you go pointing them out and making them bigger. And making other people, because that's like, it's the irony of it all. You're insecure about something you don't want people to focus on, so you bring it up. Clever clogs. Einstein. No, but love her, she was bad as hell, like I said. Crooked nose or not. Someone, yep. Cool. Don't point out your flaws. I've got another one. This next one is my favourite one, okay? And it is become a mysterious enigma. Enigma is my favourite word. One person called me it and I ran with it for the rest of my life. It just means to be really kind of like mysterious, and a lot of people are going to take this. You'll find people being like, well, I'm just an oversharer. Guys, like I said, I'm literally about to show you some of my music videos and self-tapes from when I was 18. I told you at the start of the episode that I shaved my coochie before, and I'm talking about being a mysterious enigma. It's not ironic, I promise you. Being oversharing, telling people stuff, and being an open book, that's all great and stuff. But there's a fine line. And the reason I knew that I had to get it, I'm sharing what I want to share and feel comfortable sharing what I think is silly. And people are going to have different boundaries. But the thing is, I used to, again, this was back when I was kind of like struggling mentally. I think because when you're in that desperate mindset and you want validation and you want friends and you're craving things and you're becoming really needy and clingy because you're out of balance at home, you find that you'll overshare a lot and put yourself down a lot. All these things go hand in hand because you want to be relatable, you want to be liked by people, you want to be liked so badly. But while you want to be liked so badly, you don't realize what you're doing. You coming across very desperate, very self-deprecating because you want to have friends and you're in that very clingy, needy, desperate kind of like vibe. So a lot of the time you'll kind of be like, really oversharing loads, trying to be relatable and goofy, monologuing a lot about yourself, because a lot of the time, a lot of people don't realise it. Oh God, this is my other thing. I'm going to do a whole episode about social skills and stuff, but monologuing about yourself, and the next morning you wake up with just constipated with anxiety because you're like, oh my God, I've told everyone my deepest, darkest secrets over a bottle of Ciroc, and you just got so much anxiety about it. But really, like I said, the hottest, most mysterious thing to do would have just been shut your mouth. And also, listening is so sexy, by the way. When I just sit and listen to someone, I feel like the man. The woman. Taylor Swift moment. No, I feel like a bad bitch when I'm just sitting and listening intently, giving a little bit of sexy eye contact. I don't need to talk about myself all the time, because people that need to talk about themselves all the time, they've got something to prove. It's not about that. There's actually such a skill and such a magic to just sitting and listening. It's sexy, it's hot. People will love you more in turn for that, by the way, because people love to be listened to. So if someone's monologuing away and you're just listening, you've not shared anything that you don't want to share. And this isn't about not sharing and being honest with people that you love and care about. That's different. This is kind of just like being wise about what you give off, but also remembering that being kind of like wise with what you say and mysterious, it's sexy. No one likes someone to monologue on and on and on and on. Don't care. Where's Rick? Shut up. Like it's.
But just on that point, right? Of like becoming more attractive and building your confidence. One thing that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, because I understand it's taboo to talk about sex and like body confidence and how you feel sexually and stuff. But let's be real and true. It is such a huge topic. How you feel sexually and like aftercare, intimacy, all these kind of things, because if you're not having sex right now, you've probably had it at some point, or you probably will have it at some point in your life. So it's such a big topic, and I do genuinely like to talk about it because it plays into your confidence so much. It's such a big part of how you feel, especially as women.
So I have dug deep and done a whole separate episode on sex, sexual confidence, intimacy, aftercare, and all stuff. And that is on my Patreon exclusive podcast called Aftercare, which I will talk a little bit more about at the end. But I have a Patreon, which, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know what a Patreon is, it's an exclusive, basically like a little hub of extra content with so many extras, but also I have every week an extra full-length episode which digs often deep on a little like taboo topic. So I've done that over on Aftercare. That'll be linked in the description wherever you're watching and listening, but I'm going to kind of give you a proper preview of what that is and talk you through exactly what that is right at the end. But I just thought I would mention that because that's a good topic. Visual watchers, we have the whimsy wall behind me. Audio listeners, just bear with me right now. I've got this, look, wanted, and it's a picture of Alex Turner. If found, returned to my bed. The murderer is still large. The murderer is at large. I'm sorry. The murderer is, he's actually really quite skinny. So, basically, I now would like to get a little bit hands-on. And what I mean by this is, I want to talk about how I just want to touch on that point about when you're feeling like really insecure and low, how it can make it affect how you act with other people. And you know how I feel like I spoke so much on the podcast about being desperate, never sending paragraphs, and how you act when you're not showing up for yourself and you're out of balance is so different to how you act when you're really taking care of yourself and you are balanced. And it sounds crazy, but I got a harrowing submission the other day, and this is why I'm doing this whole section. I got this harrowing submission from this girl. God love you, by the way, and a big shout out to you for actually sending me this and saying that I could put it on the podcast. So for a bit of context, this lovely girl, because I want to talk about this, I want to talk about how when you are in a bad place and you I don't know why every time I say I'm in a bad place I like gesture towards me tits. Basically, yeah, when you're feeling like really insecure and stuff, and then you're in that low mental state and you are not showing up for yourself, like I've said, I sound like a broken record, and you then start to date or start to have entanglements and go on situationships and go on dates, and you're doing it and you're not looking after other areas of your life, that is when you act like a psycho, you act like someone desperate, and it becomes a vicious cycle. I've said so many times, because they will treat you how you're coming across, because you're coming across really insecure, really desperate, you're acting out of character. So then all the dates are turning to dust and just going really shit, and you're then being like, oh, it's me, I'm just her, and it's this cycle, because you then lose your confidence even more because the date's gone wrong. But what you need to do is pull back and not go on any dates. The only dates you need are some big fat dates. They're good for your nutrition, you know, the ones from Asda with your apricots and that's the dates you need. You need to pull back. But people don't realise that. They think that if you go on a date and you think, oh, I'm feeling really shit right now, I'm insecure, I'm not feeling good, I'm not operating on a high vibration, nothing's working out in my life, I'm going to go on a date because at least then that'll distract me, that'll make me feel good, and if I meet someone nice, they'll help me out the situation. It very rarely happens that way. There's one or two stories of when you've met someone and they've really helped you out of a dark place, but don't bank on it, darling. Don't bank on it. They'll probably take you lower most of the time. That can happen by a miracle, but what I'm saying is, if you're not in a good place, the last thing I would advise you to do is jump on Hinge. You are unhinged. You need therapy, darling. And you're in the right place. But basically, this girl submitted something that I want to talk about and I want to react to on the pod because it's absolutely insane. You need to see it. But basically, she's gone on a date. She's got into this little situationship. And what happens is, when you're not filling your own cup, you get very attached easily. So what I'm about to show you is evidence of why you should never, ever, ever send paragraphs to any situationships or anything, because this is what happens. This is truly harrowing stuff. So I'm going to read it out. Thank you to the girl who submitted this for being brave. So she texts a situationship that she'd just been on a couple dates with. I think just one date, which is what absolutely, this is why this is harrowing. And she just said, hey, total transparency, I feel really let down by you. You haven't communicated with me at all this week, which is a shame, as I thought we really got on the date. I guess I require a lot of reassurance due to the past relationships. So for that reason, sorry, I've got the hair in my mouth. It's stuck to me again. I'm just going to continue because you know what? You're not going to ruin this day for me, you piece of straw. My hair's stuck to my lips. I feel like this isn't going to work. I'd like you to fight for me if this is what you want. But if it isn't, I would also like open communication so I can move on. I guess I just feel disappointed because I deserve someone who's all for me. I respect that you've got feelings, sweetie pie, but you sent that to a guy
who you've been on one date with. And this was his reply. And you better get ready. He said, "Gosh, this already sounds like a train wreck. Take care, Queen. I'm sure you'll find your fighter." Damn! Do something! You need to do something. I don't know what it is, but you need to do something. At this point, call the police. He's dragged you. He's ate you up. I hate to defend a man on this internet, but he's eating you up like a roast dinner. He's eating you up like a charcuterie at a buffet. You've embarrassed yourself. And this is why I say, I'm sorry, sending a paragraph, I've been banging on till blue in the face about how you should never send a paragraph. This is the first time. He's eaten you up. He's devoured you. You have to do something. I don't know what you have to do. At this point, contact authorities. You have to do something. Sending this kind of message, my sweetie pie, to a situationship, by the way, is absolutely, it's diabolical. And also, I feel like even the concept of a situationship over the age of 20 is just embarrassing. Every time I hear on Love Island, I hear people like pushing 30 talking about, "You want to be exclusive with me?" My bumhole winces. On Shakespeare's Planet, we're talking about exclusive situationship. I think that's cute when you're 18. Goodness me, I want to hear nothing of it. Do you know what I mean? It's not. First of all, yeah, I feel like we don't need to give any labels. I understand there is a period between you meeting me and then being in love. Actually, there isn't. It should be instant. No, just kidding. But I understand that there's that period where you're getting to know each other. Don't put a label on it. If you're out of your teens, I would say we don't need to do that. I really do. My arsehole does close up. But yeah, so what's happened here? This message, because I understand your feelings. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be feeling this way, by the way. You've said it yourself. But you know who should have seen this? Your journal. No one else. What have you done, sweetie pie? This is bad. He's eating you up. And you actually have to act now. Oh gosh, this sounds like a train wreck. Take care, Queen. I'm sure you'll find your fighter. Because that's the thing. Why are you saying fight for me? There's been one date. Good, even that's a lot for me, and I'm a Leo. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is why you look at me cuckoo. People who look at me cuckoo when I say take this to the journal. You're doing these PEE, point evidence explanation paragraphs, sending them to people you've been on one date with, and your journal is gathering dust in the cupboard. You've not used it, but if you used the journal, you wouldn't have sent this message. And the thing is, you're sending all these paragraphs to guys. Half the time, they won't even articulate what you're saying. You're doing this big ass "of my some men in spectacles" ass paragraph. They can't even read it. They can't articulate. They're not going to grasp. I'm sure you've made a lot of good points. Sure, you could probably get a creative writing degree, but they don't care. You care, and that's okay. You need to say something back to this. You can't just leave this, actually. Let's craft the response together. I'll tell you what you need to say, because unfortunately now, oh God, this is what I'm saying. But I feel like the reason I wanted to speak about this, right, and bring this up is because you've had a stinker there. You've had a howler. You can't really come back from it. You kind of have to go really low now. But I don't really want to support doing that. But you've left me no choice. No, I'm just kidding. But maybe just do leave it. Maybe just do leave it, actually. But if you want... I know what I'm going to do. Look, we're going to do a journaling workshop right now, because I've got my notebook right now. When you are one, I guarantee the girl who submitted this, by the way, you shouldn't feel bad. You just leave it now. I mean, I was going to say you shouldn't feel bad about it. I don't think you should sleep tonight. No, just kidding. He's eating you up. But if you were filling your own cup, you were in balance with yourself, you were really like working on yourself, you wouldn't have had this reaction to someone guys, by the way, let's stop treating them like they need to they're babies who can't communicate. I mean, sometimes they act like that, but what I'm saying is, if you go on, I promise you right now, if you go on a date with a guy and he doesn't communicate with you much after the date, he wasn't that interested, firm it and move along. There doesn't need to be any sort of, please communicate with me, this constant like need for communication. I promise you, all that is a part of you that you need to work on yourself, because you constantly need validation, or like a verbal, you need someone to spell it out to you. No, you don't. Actions speak louder than words anyway. If he is interested, he'll show you. So just take it as a no. Don't overcomplicate things for yourself. And like I said, the journal needs to see this. I promise you, if you cool down the amount of times, because a lot of the time when you're like triggered, your fingers are burning, they're on fire, you want to type a message to someone, I promise you, if you put that energy into your journal can see all the embarrassing stuff. Write that down. Once you've got it all out and you've kind of like, or even speak to yourself, talk to yourself a little bit. I talk to myself a lot, and it's not crazy. It stops me from being crazy, actually.
Once you vocalize it and you put it down, you realize, oh gosh, that doesn't need to be sent to that person. In fact, it's a lot safer in my journal. That's what you need to do. So guys, stop sending paragraphs to your situationships and you people who have ghosted you and all shit like that and trying to get them to care. They don't care. You care. By the way, this isn't about you pretending not to care. We know you care. The journal actually should know that you care. That's the only thing. It's not about pretending you don't have feelings. It's that some people don't deserve to see those feelings or receive those messages. And also, it's wasted energy. And I promise you, they don't care about your articulate paragraph. And I'm sorry if you didn't know that. You don't know. You do now. Bow wow. Right now, I'm going to show you how to journal to stop you from sending those embarrassing beggy paragraphs to your situationships, to people that have ghosted you, or just losing aura and coming across like a beggy peggy. This is exactly how to journal, because people don't know how to journal. You think it's just, I am strong, I am fine. You're not fine, that's all right. But your situationship won't care. Your journal will. Let's go. This is exactly how you're going to do it, because the thing is, journaling does feel corny, it does feel cringe, it does feel like you're losing your shit. You do feel crazy doing it, but actually it'll stop you from being crazy. Because a lot of the time, right, I used to give old advice. On my old podcast, I used to give loads of advice being like, just act like unbothered. You are bothered. It's okay to be bothered. Am I bothered? Yes. Am I bothered? Yes, I am. It's okay to be bothered, by the way. Say normal people, and normal in a good way, like I'm talking like healed people, happy people, get bothered by things. It is actually not normal to bounce around life unbothered by everything. You're psychotic. You're losing it. My thing is, not everyone your entanglement who ghosted you after 2 days doesn't need to know that you're that bothered. It's a waste of energy. So let's journal right now. So what I do with the first step of the journal, right? Let's first paint a scenario. Let's say I didn't even like this guy in the first place. That's always it stings the worst. I didn't even like him in the first place. But then he chipped away at me. We went on a date, couple dates, kind of in this little situationship off and on, blah, 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 to me. But maybe he's gone and spoke to someone else. I don't know. Let's just. So I'm raging. I'm ready. My fingers are fired up. They're ready to start tapping out this big Of Mice and Men ass essay, right? I'm going to stop. Don't talk to me, loser. See it, say it, sort it. I'm going to stop myself and I'm going to think, right, stop, drop and roll. I'm going to go straight to I'm not going to send anything right now. Just going to pause while you think, because really your fingers, it's like an impulse. You just say, hang on. Let me do this, journal. And if I still feel like texting after I hit the journal, I will. Cool. So what I would do, first of all, this is the fun part, is get the nasty stuff out the way first of all. Get the silly stuff, the nasty stuff, because you're having a lot of nasty stuff. Oh, I didn't even like you in the first place. Damn! So I'm going to hit the journal straight away. I feel like a freak, a fool. Didn't even like him. He had one pillow. You can get a little bit sassy and nasty. No one's going to see it. It was yellow. Cool. Same colour as me top. Okay, it was thin. Get silly. Get angry. Get the angry stuff out, because where you go low. Because by the way, going low to someone never eats them up either, because then they just know you're bothered. So just be like, no skincare in the bathroom. No headboard. You this is when you can get a little bit immature. No one needs to see it. Just be like, didn't even like him. How could he? Get a bit poetic. Yeah. Then you're gonna kind of like get a little bit like, almost like, get a little bit like, spell it out to yourself. Be like, why? Just write why. Why am I mad right now? This is what I write. So you now want to you want to ask yourself a series of questions in the journal. You just write it out. So you're going to put why. Why am I mad right now? Okay. So you've just said, and a lot of it will be repeating yourself. I didn't even like him. Okay. That's why. Bullet point 1. Okay. And then another one, my ego. Yeah, there you go. And see, a lot of truths will start spilling out. Ego hurt. What do I want him to feel? This is a good one, because a lot of the time you want them to hurt the way that you hurt, right? So you're like, okay, I want him to suffer. Like I said, no one's gonna read this. Again, and then if you're writing things like, oh, I'm gonna tell him how, I'm gonna send a big paragraph, then you're gonna say, how does this look? Just write that. How does this look? So basically, for me, journaling, it's like just this constant like conversation with yourself, but you're writing it out. So you don't need starting points. You do with journaling. I've never once a day in my life written, I am strong. I can do this. No, not like this. I can't. Sometimes when I'm really in a state of just like good grief, bad grief, I will just write in my journal, help. And then I'll write again, help me. And no one comes. No one's coming. No one comes to help, but it just feels, that's how I feel. Sometimes if you don't know what to write, you just go,
Now, if you fill out, golden rule, if you fill out 3 pages of the journal and you still want to text him, you are beyond help, and I permit you to do so. But, yeah, I'll let you do it. I don't want to tell people to not, but I can't stress this enough. I used to kind of go with the narrative of like, fake it till you make it, just fake who you are, hide. No, you're just going to walk around feeling constipated all the time if you're constantly concealing how you really feel. But the people, I would say, if you're someone who loves to send long texts and paragraphs, that is beautiful. And I would say do that if you're in a relationship with someone, if you're in a friendship. Don't hide yourself and not send them. Because when I'm saying like don't send paragraphs, if you're a paragraph, I'm quite a paragrapher. But it's only ever to people who I've built a really strong connection with. You couldn't pay me to send one to someone who just like, who doesn't deserve kind of to see that level of me. The journal does though. So like I said, guys, invest in the journal, start it. I write, this is God's honest truth, every single morning, because I was trying to do it as at first a thing for discipline, but I genuinely have realized it's rewired everything. I read a book called The Artist's Way. I would recommend it to every single person, especially people who have some sort of creator's block or feel like they need like a little bit of a boost to kind of get their inspiration back for life. It's not about dating or anything. It's completely unrelated to that. It's just more of a creative book, but it told me to write 3 full-size 3 pages of just writing thoughts to paper every single morning before I even get up. It sounds crazy. At first I was like, that's a drag, I'm not going to be able to do that. And at first I was like, what do I write? And it said literally, if all you can write is I don't know what to write, over and over again until you've done the 3 pages, do it. So I did that. Genuinely, I do it every single morning. I've not been able to do it. It clears my mind so much. It creates this clear channel. I would recommend. And genuinely, this is probably going to be your favorite part of the show, because this is going to be some harrowing exposing that I'm going to do to myself, but it's all for the greater good. And even though this is going to be funny, and this is probably going to be, a laugh more than anything, I also do want to get deep. I'm never going to be one of those people that is like, oh, it's not that deep. Everything is deep when you're this full of whimsy and layers. I'm such an onion. And you know what? Being an onion, I want to inspire a nation of onions right now. What I mean by this is being layered, being deep, feeling things really deeply. And I've just been saying, do not share your feelings do not say in paragraphs. That doesn't mean don't have those feelings. It just means being selective with who you kind of like give them to. But basically, I've said so many times, by the way, if you're enjoying the podcast so far, by the way, guys, whatever you're watching or listening on, give me a little like, give me a little hype, give me something. Helps me out. And I hope you really enjoyed it. But my TikTok girlies will know this anyway. I have genuinely like a treasure chest of lore, as in like when I was younger, I wanted to do it all: modeling, singing, dancing, acting, everything. And unfortunately, like I said, I do have so much, a paper trail of all this lore, so many things. And it was weird because in a way, it's like I said before, it's really nice to go back through them, because it's nice to have to think back, but also sad in a way, because I feel like when I was younger, you have these big dreams and no one can tell you that you can't do them. But as you get older, you kind of get slapped in the face with a bit of reality. What today's era that we're going to look into is, I had all that, like I wanted to do modeling and then singing and all these things, and then when I was around like 19, 20. I've spoke about this before. I was going through a bit of a rough mental patch, but in a different way than what I spoke about recently, where I've spoken about this where I was kind of I feel like I was craving like male validation, and that created what I like to call the music video era. I wanted to be a music video model, you know, the sexy girls that are in the music videos, like rappers' music videos and stuff. And this was a lot to do with me wanting kind of like that validation, which is why I'm putting it in this episode, because like I said, it's just so nice to be free from that. But also, dare I say, I genuinely, when I was like 19, 20, I genuinely thought this is just like silly, but I genuinely thought that I was a lot thicker than I was. And I blame scrunch bum leggings. By the way, I've actually stopped wearing scrunch bum leggings because I've decided that it's shapewear. And if you cut about in scrunch bum leggings all the time, you genuinely start to get a bit of a derriere dysmorphia, if you know what I mean. Basically what I mean is you start to think you're a lot thicker than you are, and you walk around swaying them hips, but really you've just got a tight seam up your crack. anyone can have a bit of bunda in a scrunch bum, and I'm not slandering it. It is nice. Don't mind it, but you got to switch to the Gym. You got to put the Divine down and switch to the Gymshark every now and then, or you'll end up like me and audition for rappers' music videos and get cast. Maybe they put me in for diversity reasons, as in like diversity, like for backing up the stiff community. But yeah, cut about me scrunch bum leggings had me thinking that I was Miss Thick Ting. Don't like that I just said that either. But yeah. So I had a phase. Yeah, I wanted to be a music video model. That felt good. It seemed good to me. It looked I thought I wanted to be, the desirable baddie in all the videos. I'm not taking the piss out of myself. I think I'm cute, but let's be honest, that was clearly not going to be my trajectory. It does unfortunately mean that there is music videos out there that I feature in, and it is my greatest pleasure to show them to you. So obviously, if you're listening on the audio, at some point it's still going to be good for you, but at some point it is probably good for you to come over and see the visual. I'm going to put the visual in the YouTube one, so you're still going to enjoy listening to it, but I do recommend obviously hopping over to see it. Yikes! Okay guys, let's go. Like I said, when I was 19, I was a music video model in a rapper's music video. I was diagnosed with some form of bunda dysmorphia. I thought I was a lot thicker than I was. I thought I could do this. I got cast though. Maybe they wanted some diversity for people who move like porridge. Let's watch the music video. Like I said, I'm roasting myself. I'm very happy with myself now. Trust me, I am cute. I think I'm great, but this was clearly not the path for me. I do have the video here. By the way, the music, the artists, the rappers, they were all lovely. The girls, bad as hell, lovely. Nothing bad to say, regardless. But let's get into it. This is the vibe of the video is meant to be baddies whining, and I'm talking moving your hips, not complaining and stuff. Shaking ass, sexiness. That was the vibe of the song, right? And I knew this, and I still pulled up. Oh, okay. And look at me there. See, the first frame where you see me, they've put me in the back. Now, why would you do that? They put me in the back, and yet I was still towering above everyone. I'm only 5'8", guys. Look, like I said, the girl's bad as hell. Look at whining the bobbing up. And me in the back, what am I doing? You see that's where my movement peaks. So you see there, we've got baddies whining all over the gaff. And then me, when I was told, like, right, we need to back it up. See, that's what I heard. I heard the director say back it up. And I just hit that little Michael Jackson moonwalk and just kind of stepped to the back. That's what I kind of translated, that back it up. So like I said, why in this video already, I'm not criticising, but I do just look constipated. I look like a spare part. I do stick out as someone who's not really meant to be there. And that's all right. But when when the director says back it up and you take literal steps back, you know you need to go home. You do. Anyway, this is where it gets peak. This is a dance move that I was doing. So everyone was kind of grinding. And I do realise, I don't quite move in that way. And that's okay. We're all different. So what I was doing there is that little move that you can see right there where it's a pat a cake baker's man. I was playing air bongos. Now, why was I doing that? Do you know what I mean? That's an issue, that. So I'm just giggling in the back. I'm just kind of like in the back of the music video here the whole time. Audio, if you're still listening to the audio, guys, you just really should come over to the visual because it's going to make much sense for you. Now, there was a pool. Yes, there was a pool. Now, this is a fun little piece of information. Baddies were, making the water clap, shaking up the pool, and everyone was kind of getting a shot of like them walking. Everyone had really big bundas, by the way. I thought I did at the time. Like I said, this is what happens when you got derriere dysmorphia. You think it's big, but no. Everyone was kind of getting a shot walking to the pool, and like, the cheeks were like, cheeking up. The whole time they kept me submerged. They kept me below sea level, if you will, in the water the whole time. I just thought, they wanted someone in the water. They actually didn't get a shot of me walking. I'm pissed about that. Why? Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got feelings as well. But yeah, they realised that I wasn't. I think they realised that I wasn't going to be making a splash, like clapping cheeks and stuff. So they just had me doing a bit of breaststroke. And actually, at one point, I'm not even joking, I think they were doing like the girls were like twerking in the water and stuff. And I think they told me to just like swim in the back, like just start doing laps and stuff. I don't know. Jeez. But like I said, they were really nice. It was good. It was really nice production. It could have gone a lot worse. I'm kind of eating. Look at this. This is quite a good shot, this. I'm kind of giving. No, I'm giving cute. But then I realised like I probably should step it up a notch a bit with the dancing. And I decided to flip my hair.
and I flip my hair and it knocks one of the artists in the face. And as you can see, he's a little bit disgruntled by that. Understandable. Bit of shot purple shampoo up the nostril. And I just thought, it's a wrap. You know, the one time I try to do a little move, I'm just kind of inconveniencing everyone. So I just sat on the side of this couch there, you know. Whatever. Everyone's looking cute. Here I go again with my little air bongos. It's the only move I knew how to do. Oh, hey. So yeah, guys, that was my debut. Now, unfortunately, guys, there's actually another one where that came from. Sadly, there's more. I also, as well as I have more music videos, I also have quite a few self-tapes, audition tapes, films, music videos, dancing stuff, modeling stuff, acting stuff, cinema stuff that's been in literal like cinema screenings. And I'm gonna unravel a bit more on every single episode because I just think it's fun, but also like it's nice to look back and have that and like grow from stuff like this. It's kind of, I guess it's fun to have the memories. I can't wait to speak to you in the next episode, but like I said before, I do have a Patreon exclusive podcast as well called Aftercare, where today's episode, because every single episode there's going to be another more niche taboo kind of like that in-depth episode over on there after the main episodes. So if you want a little bit more, that is over on the Patreon Aftercare. Now, what is Patreon? Quite a few people have said they don't know what it is. It's like an extra like little hub, and like I said, you can cancel at any time with Patreon. So it's £3 a month literally, so you can cancel at any time, but I know you won't want to. And there's group chats. There's gonna be, I've got so much planned for it. So if you want to go, that episode, like I said, is about sex and just some taboo stuff and aftercare and intimacy and all that good stuff. So that is linked in the description or bio of wherever you're listening. At the end of this, I'm going to put a preview of it so you can have a little insight into what that is. But guys, I really want to say I love you. And I hope you've enjoyed this ep, and I would love to hear your feedback on what you would like to talk about more on this podcast, or show more of, or do more of, because it's for you guys just as much as it is for me. So I would love to hear from you guys. Patreon Aftercare episode is linked in the description of wherever you're watching and listening. Oh, by the way, as well, with Patreon, I do want to mention, I know it's sometimes annoying when people are like, okay, you've enjoyed that, now head over to my Patreon. This is not the vibe at all. Like, nothing's going to be taken away from the main episodes. The main episodes are not going to change at all. So it's literally just a little extra if you want it. I thought I'd mention that because I'm not going to be one of those sellouts, those annoying bitches. But also, guys, if you can leave a rating or a review on Apple or Spotify, you can do it. Spotify, you can do a rating, but Apple, you can write a review of the podcast if you are a regular listener. So I think you have to listen to a couple of episodes first. So if you are someone who's listened to a lot of my episodes, could you please go and do that? And also I can see who's written the reviews. So please do that and I will reply back to you. And thank you so much. It will just mean a lot to me. So I love you guys. And I will see you same time next week. Remember, these are weekly episodes. Remember to subscribe or add me so you get notified whenever I upload. And I will see you next time. I love you. Hello, me loves. Welcome to Aftercare, which is my exclusive Patreon podcast when you need a little bit of extra aftercare, quite literally. Like, you little slags opening your legs and I'm just sat here, you know, in me. They don't enjoy sex. They've never really properly enjoyed it. One thing that there's not going to be on this app is a single air of judgment. A lot of girls were saying to me that they had no idea that like aftercare was something that should be happening in a healthy sexual relationship. I'm not enjoying sex, but my boyfriend loves it, and too much, or you're going to scare them away, and you're scared of being too much.